Hello, everybody. We have another access point review today, and today it's going to be the EnGenius Fit series of access points and products. So, as you know, I run a IT business, a small MSP, basically, catering specifically to the small business market, right? So, while we do have a couple of mid-sized clients, our focus is the small business segment. Now, as you know, the darling of the prosumer SMB sector is Ubiquiti. However, that being said, we do have a fair bit of Ubiquiti deployments at our clients, but it's always good to have a look at other products to see what's out there in the market, and also, again, putting all your eggs in one basket, your Ubiquiti basket, so to speak, is kind of a bad idea for business. Uh, because if Ubiquiti changes something, or changes their way of doing things, then suddenly we're kind of hosed, right? So while we do use Ubiquiti for the most part, again, we are very specific when it comes to customer needs. We interview the customer quite intensely to figure out what their needs are right now. How much scaling do they need? Like, we always look forward a couple of years, 3, 4, 5 years in the future, and ensure that whatever we provide is in line with the customer's growth path. So that being said, I've been looking at alternatives for Ubiquiti recently, and the EnGenius name came up quite a lot, right? So I actually bought this retail from my supplier. They had a good price on it. Picked it up to have a look at it, and I've actually been using this for 2 weeks now, 2 to 3 weeks now, and I actually have a lot to say about this product because it is quite good. I'm going to spoil it a little bit for you. It is quite good. So let's do this. Let's kind of look at the product. You know, um, do a unboxing walkthrough of the product, and then we'll look at the cloud controller. But before we do that, let's just kind of have a look at EnGenius. So EnGenius, after doing some research, it turns out is a subsidiary of MediaTek. Now, MediaTek is a SoC producer. They produce SoCs for phones and all sorts of other devices. Um, Generally speaking, the public perception is MediaTek is more for lower end devices. However, that being said, lately MediaTek has been kind of making some really good SoCs for phones, and the performance is actually pretty good. So, it is kind of EnGenius is backed by a fairly large corporation. If you look at their products over here, they do have two lines. One is of course, the EnGenius line, which is for midsize and enterprise, and then they have the Fit line, which is more for SMBs and prosumer home users, right? So if you look at, for example, their gateways, they do have a gateway that fits the small business SMB sector. It looks fairly standard. I haven't really had a chance to play with this one, but based on my experience with this access point, I really do think I will be picking one of these up to kind of play around with it, see how it compares to Ubiquiti. And, of course, if there's a customer who has a very small office, 4, 5, 10 people, modest requirements, something like this would really, really help them in terms of administration, um, setup, security, and whatnot, right? So that's one thing. If you look at also their switches, they also have switches for the EnGenius line and the Fit line. If you go to the Fit line, if I'm not mistaken, they do have 48 port 740-watt PoE switches, all the way down to your 8 port 55-watt PoE switches. One thing I have noticed that all of these switches are PoE, so you know just by default, they are going to be more expensive than the non-PoE versions. But that being said, honestly, if you're deploying at a business, PoE is the way to go. There's always access points, other devices, cameras, VoIP phones, you name it. And I think that PoE is pretty much becoming standardized when it comes to businesses. Right. So if you look here, all of the switches are PoE plus, which is fantastic, with the exception of this one here, because the uh, load is a little bit less, 55 watts. But if you move up to the 110-watt version, then you have PoE switches. Another thing I like is that they all have SFPs, so this is good for stacking switches. Really, really nice. I like that. Let's look at their indoor wireless. Of course, they do have a selection of indoor wireless access points. So they have two currently in the Fit series, which is the Fit Wi-Fi 6 2x2 and the Wi-Fi 6 4x4. And I actually have the 2x2 model over here, right? Then, if we go to outdoor wireless, they do also have outdoor wireless products. They have, I think, one right now, which is a Wi-Fi 6 2x2 wireless access point outdoor capable. Now, they have much more in the normal EnGenius line, but since that is outside the scope of this video, I'm not going to be talking about their EnGenius line. But hopefully, in the future, I might be talking about their product. But today, we're going to be talking about the Fit 2x2. Let's have a quick look at the specifications before we kind of continue with the unboxing. So you can see here that it's a 574 megabits on the 2.4 gigahertz band and up to 2400 megabits on the 5 gigahertz band. If you look at the pictures, very simple unit. It's just got Ethernet, it's got a power jack, and a reset port over here. Again, the LED is just one LED on top. It's multicolor though. Again, very simple, clean design, um, and it looks pretty standard as far as access points go. So in terms of specifications, honestly, there's nothing super duper special about it or some special secret sauce about it. It doesn't really exist. But let's start with the unboxing, and then we'll go through the controller, the desktop edition, of course, the PC edition of the controller. Let's start with the unboxing. All right, so the EnGenius Fit 6 2x2 comes in a very simple brown box, and honestly, I think that this is good for environmental reasons. It's an access point that you're going to take out of the box and mount it somewhere, and having a fancy box really doesn't help. But all right, let's do the unboxing. To unbox it, you've got the access point under here. You've got a compartment here with accessories. So it comes with some drywall anchors, which is very nice. Of course, this was used in my house for testing purposes. So it is actually, the mount was here, so it's currently mounted on the ceiling. It comes with some screws and some anchor type of washers, some zip ties here, and then a couple of different type of mounting brackets. Of course, these are for your false ceilings and whatnot and things like that. There was a third one which was more for a ceiling mount, and that is currently being used. But as you can see here, they're all these plastic units, and we're going to talk about the mounting mechanism because honestly, it is a really elegant and nice mounting mechanism. I like this methodology of mounting mechanisms compared to, let's say, the Alta Labs AP6 that I reviewed not too long ago. So let's put all of this back here, and let's continue with the rest of the unboxing here. So it comes with the access point underneath here. The access point is right over here. Let's move the box away. And there you go. The access point is right over here. You can see here that it's a fairly small unit. It's quite compact. It's all white. The top seems to be plastic, but the bottom does seem to be a aluminum or some sort of metal construction there. So that's all good. If we look at the bottom over here, again, very simple. It's got a power DC input, but there is no power adapter in the box. It is a separate purchase from EnGenius to buy that. That being said, there's very limited use cases where I would use an adapter, even if, let's say, there was no PoE switch at a customer premises. I would still rather get a PoE injector and go that route rather than going through an adapter. Simple reason is again, PoE is a beautiful thing. You have one cable going in here, which has both data and power. So why have two cables and kind of clutter up everything when you can just have one? Another thing from a business perspective is that from the switch or the firewall or the router, this could be installed quite far. And if I did use the adapter, then I'd have to worry about, is there a power socket near where this is going to be mounted, right? But with Ethernet or PoE rather, I don't have to worry about that as long as it's 100 meters, not longer than 100 meters away. Um, it'll run off of a PoE. So that's why I would like using an injector. Again, very simple. Just DCN, your 1 gigabit PoE in over here, and a small, tiny little reset pinhole. What I also like is that this area, this cutout is quite large, which is good because the Ethernet cables sometimes have boots, and um, if this area was smaller, then you have bending issues. But at least they've got a nice cutout over here. So let's talk about the mounting mechanism, because I think that they really do have a excellent solution over here. I will pull up one of the existing mounts, and we'll use that. Right, so this is for the DIN rail false ceiling type of mounting system over here. But look how easy it is. All you do is literally just, sorry, not this way. There's a little indent over here. So this has to be installed like this. All you do is literally just slide it in and click. There we go. It's mounted, and this would be mounted on the ceiling. And what I like about it does give a little bit of height, which aids in heat dissipation for the access point, right? So while the access point does get a little bit warm, I have noticed that it's not, boiling hot or anything like that. Compare that to the Alta Labs I had. It's kind of more flush mount. So, it does retain a lot more heat, but this one, I like it because it does give a little bit of a gap for ventilation. And it's locked in here because of that little indent. Again, once it's mounted, you can see this tab over here. All you do literally just pull it up and you just pull it out, and that's it. Super simple. I really like this mounting mechanism. I think it's super elegant. Uh, I really like it. By the way, my preferred mounting mechanism is from the Aruba line. So Aruba Instant On and the Aruba Proper line. I really like their mounting mechanism the most, but this is a close second. Again, very simple. You have this screwed in, or you mount it to your wall, and all it is, you just literally slide it in, and that's it. You're done. It's mounted pretty secure, and it's not going to go anywhere. And if you want to unmount it, literally just, if there's enough clearance, you can put your finger here or a screwdriver, and then just pull it out and just literally slide it out. Just that simple. I wish all access point makers really put a little bit of thought into the mounting mechanism, because on the field, when you're mounting these things, you don't want any headaches. You just want a simple and effective mounting mechanism. All right. So, and let me go connect this back to my network, and then we're going to go and talk about the controller, because this is only managed online. It cannot be managed any other way. If when I did first get this, I plugged it in, I picked up the IP, I went to the IP of this device. It's a very simplistic page, which doesn't really allow you to do anything on it. This has to be managed completely from the cloud. I know a lot of people are against that, but we'll talk about this in the next segment of the video. All right, so I've plugged in the access point. I'm waiting for it to boot up. In the meantime, what we will do is we'll log into the EnGenius Fit Express. That's what they call it, their cloud controller. And we're going to have a quick look at how it works and what kind of capabilities it offers. I really do like a couple of things. I dislike a couple of things. So we're going to talk about all of that going forward. So let's log in. As you can see that it still hasn't registered yet. It's reporting it as offline, but we are going to talk about that in a bit. So first things first is you can see that these charts do take a while, right? It's not very responsive. That's one of the negatives I did find with this controller. To me, it seems more of a polling type of architecture, where once you go to a page, it'll go and pull the access point to get some information, traverses the internet, takes some time. Again, I'm used to more of the Ubiquiti stuff, where it's more instant. But this does take a little bit of time. So that is one downside I'm going to mention right off the bat. As far as the devices, again, here's my device over here. You can see here, onboarding a device, super easy. You hit add a device. All you need is a serial number. You plug in the serial number, hit next, and it will onboard the device. The device should be on a subnet that has unfettered access to the internet, and that's pretty much the minimum requirement that's required. So yeah, very easy again to set it up. but there's no automated way of adopting the device. You still do need the serial number. Now the good news is that on the box over here, the serial number is clearly listed right over here. So you could go ahead and, let's say, deploy all of these without worrying about onboarding them first. So let's say if you have a installation crew or a crew who does civil work, so for the installation, you could hand over, say, 5, 6, 7, 10 units of these to those installers, get them to install it. As long as you have the box and you've kind of marked down that, this unit goes here and this unit goes there, like, mark it on the box. All you need to do is just pretty much take the serial numbers and onboard it through there. Onboarding is also really quick. Just put in the serial number, next, 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 and it will pick up the device. Okay. So let me have a quick look. So I do see that the light is blue on the access point up there. You can't see it, but so it means that it is connected to the internet. Let me check on my phone. I do have a signal on my phone for Wi-Fi, but as you can see here, it still hasn't picked up on the Wi-Fi controller. There we go. Just needed a reboot. Refresh. And again, that's another second ding against the online controller, is that it's not Ajax enabled, so it's not, doesn't really kind of it's not very dynamic. You have to hit refresh and all that other fun stuff to um, you know refresh the data on the screen. But if you click it, the EnGenius Fit, of course, there's a couple of options you can do here. This is very rudimentary, but I would say it's a decent blend of what's needed and what's not needed, so to speak, right? So, of course, you can rename your access point, which is great over here. You can, of course, reboot the access point. You can blink it for identification. There's a little help over here, which tells you what exactly the LEDs mean. There's only one LED, so yeah, that one LED is going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting, but it's good. And then, of course, you can delete the device from your controller, right? You can see all the stats of the device over here. Of course, there's some radio settings, but you can, of course, override it per access point. So if I wanted to override this one and disable the 2 gig, but have it on, let's say, all the other access points in a facility. Let's say if there was a facility that had 3 access points, and in one of them I want to disable 2.4, I can override it per access point. So that's really good. Second thing is the provision or the facility to upload photos, so you can have it installed and then take a photo of it and upload it here, so that at least if you have a technician going on site, or even for you, that, oh, this particular AP is giving issues, at least you know where it's located physically. So I really like this provision of having a photo here. It's quite nice. And then, of course, you can hit the tools over here, which will then give you a little bit more information and more statistics about, you can run speed tests, you can ping different sites, you can look at your real-time throughput, all that fun stuff over here, channel utilization and whatnot, right? Of course, you can swap these out. Now, and then, of course, you can click the live clients and look at all the clients that are currently connected to the access point. And of course, your IP address of your access point over here, and it's saying it's connected straight to the internet. So everything is all good. Now, just keep in mind here at the bottom of the screen, which you probably can't see because my this screen is timed. Right now, it's showing me that it's going to stop after 57 seconds, meaning that all this live dashboard of yours is live only for a minute, so 60 seconds, and then you're going to have to come back in again to kind of get the latest list of clients connected to your access point. So remember this, because this is one of the detriments I have found for this. Now, if we hit back over here, we have all of our devices here. There's a tab here for the access point and the switch. Of course, I have no switch, but hopefully I will get one day. And then for global settings, you can, of course, click here at the devices tab and then set the global settings over here. So you can say that for my indoor access points, I want to enable meshing, for example. I want the backhaul to be on 2.45 gigahertz. Your radio settings all over here. For your outdoor devices, same thing over here. And if you go to the switch part and if you click this, you can go to switch settings and, of course, enable or disable switch settings. Again, very rudimentary. And then, of course, there's some general settings over here for local credentials of your device SNMP if you want to enable it, the community so you can log in, and of course, disable or enable the LED light. You go to clients, again, this is where the problem starts for me with this online controller because I find it's quite rudimentary. One of the things, take this for example here. What is this device? I don't know what it is, right? Sometimes at a client site, I would like to rename a device. I haven't found a way of how I can rename. You click this. There's no way you can rename it. There's nothing. If I click this, it takes me to the controller they're connected to, which is all great, but I would really like a way to be able to rename this device. So a really good example would be these smart bulbs over here. So one, two, three, four, five. I've got them all over my house, but right now I don't know which one is which. Right? In Ubiquiti, yes, it might be detected as L530, but I can always go in and then rename them to, let's say, bedroom, basement, living room, patio, whatever it is. I can rename it the way I like it. Now, this button over here, it doesn't really do much other than either blocking this a device from all SSIDs or to a particular SSID. So let's just say if I wanted this device not to connect to my normal network, I could just click that and say that, yeah, don't connect it, hit apply, and that's it. Very easy. So I really do like this functionality also. All right, and then of course I don't have a switch, so there's no wired clients. And then blocked, I haven't blocked any clients, of course, because it's at my house. If we look at Wi-Fi, again, you can create SSIDs very easily. So you just hit plus, and then you have a guest or staff Wi-Fi. So staff is basically will have access to your network. If you go to guest, it prevents communicating from each other to protect privacy. So there's no inter-device communication on the guest network. You can hide the SSID, choose which radios you want to have enabled or disabled. You can have it as an open, password protected, with WPA2 and WPA3. And of course, you can also set up uh, like a captive or a guest portal on here. All right, let's continue on to wired. Now, you do have to create a network. So I have two VLANs right now, 1 and 100. The one is my default network, and the 100 is my IoT network for all my smart devices to connect to. Those are pretty much the two SSIDs I use. If you go to network settings, again, you can set your network name, you can set your country and your time zone. And of course, you can also do firmware upgrades. The second tab here is for the firmware upgrades. Now, what I do like is you can, of course, select which days you want it to check and allow it to upgrade the firmware. And one good thing is that you can actually click this and have it all blank, hit apply. So it is manual, right? So it won't upgrade it automatically, which is kind of critical in a business environment because sometimes you do not want to upgrade immediately. You want to be able to, you know, read some news about the firmware, whether it's causing issues or not, before you decide to upgrade. Normally speaking, for me, I usually wait a couple of weeks before a new firmware is released, kind of get the lay of the land, see if anybody's complaining about the firmware before I actually go and upgrade clients' firmwares, right? But in this case here, I've set it for Sunday because it's a residential deployment in my house. And from 2 a.m. to 3 a.m., it'll upgrade automatically. You can, of course, force an upgrade by hitting upgrade now. Oh, there is actually an update here. So, oh, sorry, no device has been upgraded. One device is already up to date, right? So, yeah, I remember a week ago there was an upgrade. So I did that. And then, of course, any alerts here, whether device is on or offline, you will get alerts based on your email account of your that you've signed up with over here. Of course, you can add a couple of admin users here. So I'm the owner, I'm the current only admin, but you can invite other admin users, even as a viewer. So sometimes in the client sites, certain owners or maybe owners are a little bit more business savvy. They want either full admin or maybe viewing thing. So that is really great. That's fantastic. I really like this functionality. And of course, once you add the email, they get an invite. They can sign in. They have to sign up with a EnGenius account, and they have access to the controller. The last section over here is the Fit controller. Now, I don't have a controller right now, so I really can't talk much about it, but this video is strictly about the Wi-Fi. And now that everything is connected, you will see some graphs here. So first things first, it seems to me is like I said, is based on using this for 2 weeks, is that the controller really doesn't, the online controller really doesn't store much, because you can see here that 6 hours of usage, that's not possible, because I've had way much more usage than this, right? I've had gigabytes of usage. But because I unplugged it to show the unboxing, it's not showing the full data. That to me indicates that the all of the statistics is sitting on the access point, and every time you go to the controller, it's pulling it from the access point, kind of like live. That means that things like the charts are not real time, they're slow. So if you want to see updates, you have to refresh. And to me, the bigger issue is that when you make changes on the device, I've noticed that it kills the whole network. So, for example, if I go on Wi Fi, if I, for example's sake, I created a SSID right now, it would basically reboot the device. It would apply it, reboot it, and it would take a while. I would say, like, we're talking, 2 to 3 minutes to do this whole thing. And in that time, there's connectivity issues. People lose connectivity, like, Wi-Fi is completely off. Even something as simple as changing the name. If I went here and I changed the name of this SSID to something else, it would also break Wi-Fi for a bit, right? For 2 to 3 minutes. Now, this is not the end of the world, because normally speaking, usually at client environments, um, you do your work, things are stable, and really doesn't change much. And if a client does want something changed, like a new SSID, if it's urgent, then of course, we notify them that there will be some downtime. If it's not urgent, we'll tell them that, okay, this will be done after hours. And the next morning they come in, the new SSID will be there, right? So overall, I think the controller is good. I really do like it, but I do understand the limitations, and I do understand why they're doing stuff like this. Again, this puts less load on their servers. I'm sure they're hosting it, at these cloud providers. And to minimize their costs, again, they're limiting a little bit of these functionalities on the cloud control, which is completely fine to me. I think that uh, for the most part, this is pretty good. The only thing that kind of bothers me is if you hit clients here, uh, it's not live. You're not seeing any live data of clients connecting and disconnecting. There's no statistics about the clients. You can't click and see stuff. There are options. If you click display options, you can click all sorts of stuff like this to enable it, right? Which is fantastic, right? Like, I really like this. I can see the rate that the client is connected on, the signal strength, the signal to noise ratio, their IP, upload and download. Really great. But here's the problem: you go away and you come back, and the setting doesn't stick. And there's no place I've seen that you can actually save this, right? Like, I'm scrolling all the way down. Even if I go here, do this, right? I scroll down, there's no save anywhere. There's no save here, like, any pop up that says permanently save it, because I would like to see this by default all the time. Honestly, like, that's what I would like to see. I would like to see this page instead of, going away here and then coming back here. And then guess what? Now it's reset back to something very rudimentary, right? Like, yeah, sure, this is great, but I would like to see this all the time, right? Why can't I see this? So to me, this is kind of like a little downer. I didn't like this part. What really is not a major deal breaker, but kind of approaching, there's not being able to rename these devices. Like, okay, ESP, fine, but what is it, right? Like, yeah, I know the MAC address right over here, but if I found out, let's say this was a smart switch in my basement connected to my router, I would still like to be able to, manually go and type this in and say that this is my router smart switch, or this is my bedroom RGB bulb, for example, right? So I think that this really needs to be looked at by EnGenius. Now, again, the Fit Express or the Fit line might not have this, but I do know that the proper EnGenius or the more mid-size to enterprise line has a lot of functionality. So again, I do understand where they're coming from, but that being said, that their competitors in this price segment who are catering to that particular small business segment, they do have that functionality. So take Aruba Instant On, they do have that functionality. So at least match your competitors' functionality. That's all I have to say. Let's talk about performance and range. Now, I'm not going to do any tests, formal tests like speed tests or whatnot, but I'm going to talk anecdotally. The range has been quite nice. I would say it is as good as the U6 Lite that I was using prior to this access point. Roughly about the same range, plus or minus here and there. I have noticed that in certain areas it is one notch less on my phone than the Ubiquiti access point. But that being said, in terms of speed, lag, latency, it's identical, right? So maybe the signal's a little bit lower, but it does maintain the same bandwidth across that same distance. However, when you're closer to this access point, it actually excels quite a lot. So my kid's computer is fairly close to the access point. I would say probably like, you know, 10, 12 feet away. And with the U6 Lite, if I was copying something off the NAS, so my kid's computers are connected with Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi 6, uh, it would copy, the Ubiquiti would copy at like about 500 megabits a second. The EnGenius does it at like 700 to 750 megabits a second, which is quite a lot, right? It's a 50% more actually. So I'm actually quite impressed with the throughput of this access point, the range, the stability. I've like I said, I've been using this at home for 2 weeks now, and not a single time has any device kind of you know disconnected for random reasons. Nobody, like I've got kids, and you know how kids are with their internet. Nobody's complained about either slow internet or no access or spotty range. So it's been quite robust from that perspective. I really like the hardware um, quite a lot. So we're going to end this video right now, and I'm going to end with saying that I think EnGenius is the fit line is actually a pretty darn good access point. I think their switching and their firewall will also be good, based on my initial impressions. Of course, I am going to try to see if I can get one for review purposes, and we are going to have a look at that then. But for now, this access point is actually very, very nice. I really like it, and I think that it's going to be sitting permanently in my house, and it's going to be serving all the clients in my house. Now, right now it is you know I'm the only one at home right now, so there's no 27 clients. But at peak, we're looking at roughly around 35 to 40 Wi-Fi clients. And it really doesn't skip a beat. It does quite well. So overall, this is a big thumbs up for me. Even if I was going to be using another manufacturer's firewall at a client, and let's say they only wanted access points, I would think that the fit, the EnGenius fit line is a strong, strong candidate for selection, right? They're priced very reasonably. They have a cloud controller built in. Granted, you can't do much without the cloud controller, like with the access point alone. But if a client is averse to cloud controllers, then you have the fit controller. You can buy their fit controller and you can administer everything from there. So if you look here, let's see, if you look at their, there we go, network controllers. And it's a small little black box, and this allows you local control. So you don't have to go out to the internet. You basically adopt all the devices over here, and that's pretty much it. So again, they do cater for different mindsets. A lot of customers, they don't want cloud, or they don't want administration in the cloud. So at least the good part is that this can be administered locally. So overall, like I said, excellent product. I really think it's good. And yeah, if you have any questions, please leave it in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe and like this video. And see you soon.